Great. Uh, hey everybody. I hope you're doing great. Um, so we're continuing our journey through the course agenda. Yeah, before we jump into your questions, a couple of notes and a recap from the previous weeks and what should be done on the next one. First of all, recently I announced that the registration for the course was open till the 10th of October, so now it's closed. And it also means that the deadlines for the previous assignments that's uh, were presented, the deadline was also passed. So it means that everything from the previous weeks should be already completed, except one assignment, which is CV Markdown, as you can see from the next week. So I remind you that our journey continues here from the week 4. So this assignment has the continuation in the form of CV, HTML, CSS, and Kids basics. What should be
Pavel,
noted here?
sorry for disturbing you. It's not correct. The assignment related CV Markdown is completed. It's only Markdown, but this week our student will work about in a CV, but make it more beautiful using HTML and CSS.
Yeah, great. Thank you for reminding because I thought that's the criteria for the cross-check and for auto tests will be started at the end of the week. But thank you for reminding. Okay. In this case, yeah. So the criteria from the CV Markdown assignment should be already completed. And just to remind you that this assignment is checked by the auto test. So it means that everything that is stated right here, it will be checked automatically in terms of comments and whatever mentioned here. So yeah, I also told that you need to be more attentive here because in case if you received a lower score, yeah, that's because some of the checks were failed.
Володе положи на кровать укрой одеялом.
Okay, great. So our journey continues on the week 4. As you can see, yeah, the continuation of the previous assignment started today. Basically, what is all about? Yeah, it's all about more or less the same, but instead of the Markdown, also some basics of the HTML and CSS knowledge should be applied right here. So please pay attention to the following requirements. And one more thing to add here is that this task will be checked by two means. The first one is does the task will be checked by the owner task, and the second one we introduce the cross-check process starting from the current assignments. In case if you still uh, don't have any ideas what the cross-check is, I propose you to refer to the documentation one more time to the cross-check section and get acquainted with the following process. What's the cross-check is all about, how to submit the work for the cross-check, and how to check the works of other students, and possible answers for the majority of questions could be present right here. So we're going to announce the cross-check process once again on the next week when the deadline for the current assignments will already passed. So stay tuned. We'll provide this through info. But for now, you already can refer to the documentation to get acquainted with the cross-check process. Okay, one more time. So previously, the deadline for all the assignments was 10th of October. But starting from today, all the deadlines will be strict and usually it will be tied to the current week. So on the previous week, you have the CV Markdown and the deadline for the current assignment was 10th of October. we're jumping into the next week, and the deadline for the next assignments is 17th of October. So previously we did that stage because we were waiting for some other students to join our course. But since the course registration is already closed, we're starting to stick to the strict deadline. So please pay careful attention to the deadlines, because otherwise, if you are haven't managed to complete all the assignments within the given deadlines, well, unfortunately, the assignments will not be evaluated. It could be a theoretical test or the coding task or whatever assignments you're given. So please pay attention to the deadlines. Great. So what else? Another points. Please pay attention that your profile on the Eras app is up and date. So, well, maybe it's not quite relevant to show my one because I have lots of information here. But anyway, please pay attention to your profile and fill in all the possible data to the profile. So why I'm asking it to do right now? First, because the next week you already start cross-checking other students, and in case if something goes wrong and you might not agree with some of the checking aspects, so that you could be able to see the contacts of a student, so that you could contact him directly. And the second important note is just to keep in touch with you in case if we see that we have something new to share with individually, or whenever you complete the first stage, which I remind you will be like finished, well, not pretty soon, but still. So I maybe expanded the stage 2. Okay, yeah. So as you can see, the stage 2 starts in December. And just to remind you that at the beginning of stage 2, you're expected to pass the interview with your future mentor. So to be able to keep in touch with not only with among students and organizers, but among your future mentors. So I'm asking to keep the profile data up to date. Please provide some contact details. How can we reach you? And yeah, keep it up to date. So in case if you also have some emergency, yeah, it will be great if we have some means of where we can reach you. Great. So we continue our journey along with the HTML, CSS, Git basics, which is continuation of our previous assignments. We'll also have like the test assignments for you and a couple of new modules to pass. Great. I believe that's for the news. That's it. Otherwise, if someone from organizers have something to add, if not, let's pass to your questions, if any. All right. Okay. Tropina, Olesya, please go ahead.
Yeah, hello.
Hey.
I have a question about Markdown. Well, we did it, finished, fine, whatever. My question is about the example, because as I understood, this week we are doing like CSS HTML version of the Markdown, right? And
Yeah, exactly.
one of the examples is not viewable for Elvin Yakaev.
What do you mean by examples? So is it something provided in the task itself?
It's in where is it? It's week 3 Markdown. In
Okay.
Markdown, you can see examples: Anna Voloshyna, Artur Markasyan, and Elvin Yakaev.
Okay.
No, I think No, it's not. I think you pressed on task, actual task CV Markdown, and
Okay, got it.
yes. There
And
are
some
three
of the examples are not reachable, right?
Alvin, yeah, when you are pressing on RS School CV, whereas the actual site, I assume, should be.
Okay.
For Alvin, it's not there.
Okay, it looks like it's not actual anymore because, well, Alvin itself removed this from his repository.
Okay.
Yeah, but thank you for highlighting. Yeah, but I see that other examples are available, so you could
Yeah.
based on the layout, implement something for your site. Yeah, but we do not control like who removes or keeps up to date because someone decided to remove it because it's not quite actual. Yeah, so we do not control this process anyway. So yeah, this could be helpful.
Yes. Okay. Can I have another question about
Sure.
the actual CV? Can you go to Anna Voloshyna version?
Okay, Anna Voloshyna. Okay.
So there is a code example in her CV, which
Okay.
as I get it, it's from Codeverse, and then there is an example of her code, right? Do we put something like that from Codeverse too, or what are we doing in this?
So what do you mean?
How long should be this code example be
It's up to.
like?
Well, actually, it's up to you.
So it
Even
doesn't
one
matter.
line
And
is enough. We have this condition to give you a possibility to try code tag.
okay, and should we put like she put the task for the code? What does it do? Should we put it, or we can just put the code itself?
So the main criteria here is that your CV should contain code example. It means that this element should be styled accordingly. Whatever the code will be put, how long is it? It doesn't really matter. So that's
Okay. Okay, thank you.
If you want, you may write hello world.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, welcome. Okay. Let's see what else do we have. What is the deadline for CV task if not ready? So just to remind you once again, the CV Markdown task, which was launched previous week, the deadline has already passed. You should already submit the following assignment and get the score since it's checked automatically. Your next assignment in terms of CV starts in the current week, which is HTML, CSS, and Git basics. Okay, next one from the chat. Are we allowed to change any info in our CV? Add some info about courses. Yeah, seems like it's already answered. Okay. Let's go through the raised hands. Debbie, please go ahead.
Okay. Okay, I don't know. It's morning here. So good morning, everyone. My question is, like, so after submitting, right? Like for the AutoSite CV test, can one still make changes to the repo? Like after the deadline?
Sorry, could you please repeat your question? So, am I right that you're asking about are you allowed to make any additional changes after the deadline?
Yeah, because personally, what I did was the code example. I actually just put my project, like a link to my project. But after seeing your screen, I think I'm wrong. I did it's supposed to like be a code example. So can I change it, or like I already filled that? Can I still change it, or it's against the rule?
Well, if you already evaluated, yeah, why not? But personally, I think that it's doesn't necessary because, well, actual CV dots will be used for pre-screening processes to give to our future mentors. The next version of CV is mostly will be used, not the Markdown one. The intention of those tasks was for you to learn the Git mechanism and have some basic understanding of the Markdown. So you could like continue working to focus on the next version of your CV.
All right. Okay, thank you. Yeah. Thanks.
Okay, great. Anastasia, please go ahead.
Hello, everybody. So I
Hey.
have question. So I have found out that when we need to create our CV, HTML, CSS, Git basic, yes, we must use criteria. So, for example, content should be placed in the horizontal centered block and so on. Yes. So my question, how this course, it's not for beginner. So, and I created web portfolio with my website and my CV already. Can I upload my CV or I need to follow your rules, like criteria, and again created a CV again? Yes.
You,
So
you definitely need to stick to task criteria because it will be evaluated only according to whatever it states here. Because some of the criteria will be checked by auto test and some of them are the parts of the cross-check process. So if some of the criteria doesn't match, so in this case, some of the points will be subtracted from the overall score. So please pay attention to the requirements and criteria. Okay, does it answer your question?
yes, thank you.
Okay, great, you're welcome. Okay, let's see what we have from the chat. So the question was about Markdown CV. So I have 1 week more, as good as I understand, to finish it now. So as I mentioned before, the CV Markdown, the following assignment has already passed. The deadline was already come, so you are supposed to finish. We're supposed to finish it by the beginning of the current week. So if you didn't manage to do so, yeah, unfortunately, you're a bit late. But don't worry, focus on your next assignments and try to keep to the deadlines in the future. Because, well, even though if this task it's a logical continuation of the previous one, anyway, the previous one should already be submitted. Okay, next one. In Britain, it is not recommended to post your photo in CV to avoid discrimination. I think it makes sense. Could you please explain the purpose of the photo in CV? It's kind of interesting. I never heard that. But yeah, anyway, the first criteria, just to remind you, that on our course, we have such thing as code of conduct. And on our intro meeting, we already told you that in case if you don't follow the code of conduct, including some sort of prohibited things, unfortunately, we have to expel you from the course. So please be respectful to anyone and follow the code of conduct, which covers such things. Yeah, that's an interesting topic in terms of like not putting the photo to the CV, but I don't think it's quite bad. Why not? Interesting. But in our case, within our tasks, you definitely need to apply a photo. But in case if you don't share your personal photo, okay, let's agree that you'll put, well, whatever order, with cats, with rabbits, whatever. But I recommend to put your real photo. But we could agree that it's not obligatory, but the photo itself should be present. Great. Any other questions? Okay, the next one. What is the deadline for a cross-check task? Should I submit CV till the end of the deadline, or it should be already checked? So in terms of our next assignments, the deadline for submission is 17th of October. By that time, you should already submit your work for cross-check. And the deadline for the cross-check itself, well, it's usually 1 week. So on the current week, till the end of it, you submit your work, and on the next week, you have 1 week more to perform the cross-check. So let's agree. The deadline for the task is 17th of October. The deadline for performing the cross-check is 24th of October, right? So after the deadline for task submission, it's prohibited to make any other additional changes. So I believe I answered the question from the chat. Great. Anything else? Okay, looks like no. So in case if there is nothing else to discuss, I propose to wrap up our webinar. Great. Anyway, so let's keep in touch in Discord. And in case if you encounter something, yeah, let's sort out whatever you encountered. And for now, we're wrapping up the webinar. Thanks, everyone. Thank you for your attention and questions, and good luck. Have a great week.
Have a good week. Bye-bye.